Hi guys, how are you? So this is a reading for the twin flame energies in the Lion's Gate portal. The energies the past 2 weeks have been very intense. I myself fell ill, and I've seen a lot of other people also falling ill at this time, and it's basically since my last reading where I mentioned that the feminine has to go through an extreme purge. That exactly has what that is exactly what has been happening to me. I have been forced to purge, and it has been since the that's what's been happening since the lunar eclipse that happened, and now the Lion's Gate portal has just completely forced me to purge and just take out everything. So I'm hoping that you guys find some sort of calm within this chaos, because that's exactly what I feel. So that is something. Now coming to the reading, you can see that the left side is the masculine side and the feminine side is on the right side. So I did a very random selection of cards today. Instead of taking out the past, present, future, the masculine and feminine's head space, heart space, and action space, I just did a very random pulling of cards with very random questions. So I'll begin to explain all of them from below, and I'll start with the masculine side, which is on the left. So we start with basically what's going on in the masculine collective, which are the two cards below, the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords. By the way, this reading has a lot of sword energy. If you can see the picture, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost 8 sword cards all around. There are also a lot of major arcanas that are there. Now the swords energy is basically thoughts, plans, attitudes, mental transformations, all of that. That is what the sword energy brings about. So it's about more of an intellectual leap than an emotional, like the cups energy. So for the masculine, number one, if you start from below, it's about the second row, which is passion ignited, as you can see, and you can also see that there is the Queen of Swords. So the question that I asked there was, what is the masculine feeling about the feminine? How does the masculine view the feminine? So these are very self-explanatory cards. First of all, passion ignited shows that he's definitely thinking about the female or the feminine energy in a very passionate way. He's missing her. It's very obvious with that. And he also sees that she is someone who's like the Queen of Swords, So the Queen of Swords, what exactly is the Queen of Swords, if you ask? She basically is a wise person. She knows, she makes decisions with knowing. She basically is very intuitive, I would say. She's someone who has a lot of power. As you can see, she's sitting on the throne with the sword in her hand. So there's no messing around with this person. You can't lure her in with sweet talk. She knows her stuff. Whatever she does is because of a wiseness that's already there. So this is how the masculine is viewing the feminine, and I really like that. That's really good. And opposite to that, how the feminine is viewing the masculine. It's very interesting because you get the Strength card and you get the Waiting Game card, which again, I feel like they're very self-explanatory. The waiting game is what we're all doing since forever, isn't it? In the twin flame journey. The waiting game is basically, we're waiting for them to make a move, and it's just been, ages. And you can see the hourglass in the waiting game card. I feel like the hourglass is like an infinity symbol. So an infinity symbol is basically what is very important in any kind of spiritual context, if you look at it. Very similar to that is something in the strength card. If you can see the card, there is this person with a lion. So what I feel with the strength card is that the feminine is strong. She's really strong now. She knows how to tame her beast. She knows how to take care of her ego. She knows how to, she's come to that level of mastery, you could say, that she's actually comfortable with the the dark side. I wouldn't say the bad side, but the dark side of her. And it takes a lot of courage to actually come in contact with that and deal with it, which the masculine is still struggling with in a way. And you can see that there is an infinity symbol on the person's head. Very what a coincidence, right? Because the waiting game is also like an infinity hourglass. So I feel like an infinity symbol, the most important part of it is that there are two ends to it and there is a center. So an infinity symbol always brings to my mind the importance of being centered, the importance of not getting swayed to either extremes, but understanding duality and understanding that, there are two parts to things, and you are always going to be unbalanced if you go to either end. So being centered in your energy is what is important, integrating both light and dark, which you can see in this card. And it requires strength, So that's what is on the feminine side. Now, advice cards for the masculine are below that. That is stand your ground, and the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Swords. So it just shows, the swords just show that, the 9 of Swords is basically, oh my God, you can't sleep and you're just thinking about something. It's just eating on you and it's just like annoying you and you don't know what to do. You just sleepless nights, disturbed anxiety. And the 8 of Swords is basically an energy where you feel like you're stuck and you don't really know what to do. But both these cards, the 8 of Swords and the 9 of Swords, tell us how it's actually very important to look at things from different perspectives sometimes, because we always feel like whenever there's a situation and we're not, we're in the situation, we always look at it as if it's the worst thing that has ever happened to us and we're the only ones who are going through it and we don't know what to do about it, and we feel like it's never going to get over. Like when you have a heartbreak, you're just like, it's never gonna, you're never gonna feel better. It's just never gonna happen. But if you actually gain perspective, you can see that these situations are not as bad as they seem to be. And with a little bit of tact, you can actually maneuver your way through them and get out of that whole situation in a way. So the Swords cards coming as an advice for the masculine just shows to me that the masculine needs to start looking at things from a higher perspective, how these challenges that he's facing are actually for his good, because we're all faced with challenges in this journey, and it's actually separation in a way is supposed to be the best thing that ever happened, because you would never come into the journey otherwise. And you would never come to, this whole spiritual understanding and this whole bountiful knowledge and different world that you're in right now. But the masculine is still struggling and does not know how to see it from a different perspective is what it's seeing. But what the advice cards show is that stand your ground and find another way, Like, be tactful, look at it from different perspective. Maybe it's not as bad as you're thinking. I feel like maybe some of them are thinking about reaching out, and they're just like, oh no, it's been so long, I don't know what to do. So that's how it is. Whereas for the feminine, on the advice cards is the Empress, the Ace of Swords, and Intuition. Positive cards, very positive cards. I feel like the feminine had a lot of negative cards. I wouldn't say negative, but I would say more challenging cards the last time. So these cards just show that the feminine will come out triumphant. You know, she's in her energy, her feminine energy, and she's liking it. She's embodying it. She will come out triumphant, and she has to use her intuition, because that is her power. Because even if you see like the feminine and masculine energies, the feminine energy is more creative, and intuition is a very basic part of being creative, because any creative person will know that, like, you need intuition to actually know what works, know how things work, and all of that. So it's amazing to see that the feminine is actually stepping into her power in a way, and I like that. That's great. Now moving on to the center of the spread, you can see that there is the Four of Swords and the Light card. Move into the light in a way. So these cards I pulled out by asking one question, which was, what's happening in the collective? Nothing about the masculine or the feminine, but just like, what is happening in the collective? So what the Four of Swords says is that it's time to rest for some time now, because the energies, I suppose, were so intense that we need a time for rest. But it's not like you're gonna stay in this restful situation forever. Like, there's a difference between rest and success. This is not success yet, but there's so much more to go through. But you've been given a break. So I'm hoping that means that after these intense energies of the Lionsgate portal, we get to rest a little bit and then move forward, because you can't keep fighting. You just can't. It's just very hard. It's difficult. It's crazy. It's just coming to the masculine side. The questions that I asked for second last row from the top was, what can the masculine do now? And the cards that came out were the Firm Foundation card and also the Justice card. So the Firm Foundation card is basically how the masculine should actually build his plan. Now, whenever we talk about the masculine and feminine energies, I told you that the feminine energies are more creative, more intuitive. But what brings the feminine energy into action is the masculine energy, always. So the masculine energy always has to have a firm foundation, They will bring the plans into fruition in a way. So I feel like Spirit is asking the masculine to actually start building a firm foundation, because you guys have a mission together, the feminine and the masculine. And the feminine's creativity and intuition can only be of help if the masculine actually has a firm foundation. Now the Justice card is very obvious again. It's like the masculine has to do justice to the feminine. It's high time that he serves himself and the other half, which is twin flame, because he is ruining it for himself in a way if he is not serving, he's not doing justice, basically. You're building up excess potential in yourself if you're not You're not balancing things out. I mean, so you have to balance things out. Coming to the feminine side, what must the feminine do now? You can see the Magician's card and also Triumphant Success. Triumphant Success would be, I suppose, same as the Ace of Swords. So this is the second time that this card has come out in the feminine, which is yet again the confirmation that she will succeed in whatever she's doing now. I don't know if you guys have heard about this law where every drop in an ocean matters. Like, an ocean is only formed because of every drop of water it has in it. So if you guys feel like you're stuck and there's nothing going on in your life and you don't know what to do and things are just not happening, then be patient, because every step that you take matters. Even if it is getting up in the morning and doing the simplest things like taking a shower, because I know how hard that can be sometimes when you're depressed, and it's just the hardest thing to do. But every drop matters and everything you do does matter. So the Magician's card basically says that you have all the tools available to you and you know about them to make your life a success. It's all about taking the steps and you will be successful. So that's actually confirmation from Spirit, and I'm so happy about that. That's amazing. I've been stuck in this energy for the past 2 weeks and it's just been horrible for me. And I've been bawling my eyes out, honestly, and asking for confirmation in some way, because I feel like there's no point. We've all felt like that in our journeys, we have. But there you go. That's the confirmation that you just have to do it. You just have to keep doing what you're doing and keep going, because everything will fall in place. Now, the last row of cards, which is the top row, is about, again, what does the near future actually hold for the masculine and the feminine. So the near future for the masculine, you can see that there's only one card here, the Ten of Swords, which is upside down. Because I don't really read reversals, but sometimes Spirit just tells me that don't read that card in upright. Don't read it upright. You have to read it in reverse. So I'm just going to let that be there. So for the masculine, in the near future, Ten of Swords in reverse shows that there's a painful ending that must take place for growth to happen, because cycles end, cycles end and start, and it's important that that cycle ends and another cycle start. And it's not easy. Ego death is not easy. It's not easy to actually let yourself come into allowing of cycles, because you resist pain, you resist so much. We as feminine have learned that there is no point of resistance, because what you resist persists. That is why there's no point. You let the tower fall, you let the swords come crashing down on you, because with death will be a new beginning. So the masculines will finally realize that and will let go. There is the fertility card, which is something like a new beginning. So in traditional tarot, that is actually the Empress, or the feminine energy, what I would say. I feel like more than the feminine energy, it's talking about a new beginning, new plans. With the Three of Pentacles, you can see that there's a plan underway. With the fertility card, probably the masculine will definitely reach out, and he's got a plan, he's got a firm foundation, and things are going to happen then. Wouldn't that be nice? Whereas for the feminine, we have the Page of Cups, we have the Seven of Swords, and we have harmony. So it feels like a story in a way. You know, it feels like you're gonna get a message, a good message. The Page of Cup is always something to do with something new, something, you know, something unexpected, bizarre, going to happen. Creativity in a way, positive messages, news from someone you love, or something of that sort. And you are going to have a little bit of hardship with the Seven of Swords. You know, that means that you're going to try to get away with it, but you'll be reminded by spirit that you just can't. You have to be, you know, you have to just let this energy flow into you. You just have to do that. And finally, you will definitely reach to harmony. I like that there are two people in that. There are two people, probably the masculine, the feminine, you could say, who have reached to harmony, so that you can probably call that the twin flame reunion. I definitely hope that whoever is basically listening to this, I am setting out an intention that they do reach reunion in the near future. You know, like embedding codes in the reading or something, probably September end, maybe. Do let me know if you do reach your reunion. I mean, I'm gonna be so glad that this really helped, you know. I mean, so that was reading for today. Definitely some really difficult emotions coming up, and even though I've been on this journey for a long time, it's just very difficult to actually process some of these, because you kind of feel like you've already done it, and then you're back into the cycle again and again and again. It can get very frustrating, but it's just you just have to hang on, I suppose. And I guess, like the middle of the card spread that we have here, we will all move into the light, or we are all moving into the light, you can say. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much. Do check out my video on how the law of attraction actually works. I'll leave the link in the description box below. Please do reach out to me if you feel like you're interested in having a reading done from me. I'm going to do a recorded reading, maybe with video, like I tried in one of my readings, or I could do it with pictures if you want. Do reach out to me, and I hope this helps. All right then, bye.